Hello, it's me, and I have in front of me something that much of you probably know very well. This is the 8x8 barrel puzzle cube kind of thing. So much of you probably saw the unboxing of this, and now I give you the much awaited scramble and solve of this thing. Very unique puzzle designed by Dan Fast, the Crazybadcuber. You all know him. And basically kind of a backstory with this. This is, at least at the time of taping this, a world record. It's the largest of its kind. And, you know, when he first made it, Dan gave me the opportunity to buy this. And what I told him is that, you know, if you put this on eBay, you could probably get a lot of money for this. There are collectors who I know would really bid very highly on this. But Dan is what you'd call, well, a gentleman. Maybe the last of the true gentlemen. And he said, no, I'm offering this to you. I'm giving you the opportunity to buy this. I'd like to make sure it gets a nice home, someone who would really value it and make good use of it, and said that if so wanted, then I can have it. Well, that was an offer I couldn't refuse. So proving that for him, guys like him, it's not about the money, it's not about what he can earn, it's about creating something valuable, something that people can enjoy, and putting it in the hands of people that he would like him to. So his values far outweigh any monetary gains, and for that, Crazybad, I salute you. Anyway, this is my dedication to you for creating such a great puzzle. Now, what you see in front of you is a solved 8x8 barrel cube, barrel puzzle. The reason why it's solved is because I actually solved this. This is I scrambled this shortly after I got it, went through it, and was actually able to solve it. Now, usually before doing a tutorial, I like to scramble and solve a puzzle a couple of times. Kind of gives me a little bit more finesse in terms of the techniques and maybe a little more expertise so that I can describe things. This puzzle is kind of an exception. When I scrambled it the first time, of course there were a couple sticky points, which mainly was the last two centers. And so difficult was that, I had actually doubted if I was ever going to scramble it again after this. But of course, how can I resist? In any case, so I've really only scrambled and solved it once. So this is going to be more unusual in that I'm going to be kind of working through this again. We'll be working through it together. So we'll see how this works. In any case, just to show you some of the motions before scrambling, we'll do some just kind of 180-degree turns. Now let me point something else out here too. This is another one of those puzzles where it has multiple solved states. You know, it can be like this, but it can just as easily be like this or like this. I can also turn this over here. So this still looks like a solved puzzle because there's no definable center. What makes this so difficult, more difficult than much of the Megamorphing series, is the fact that each piece has a very unique place. There's only one, although there's many different solved configurations when you move these as a group, there's only one solved configuration with each one of these pieces. I can't, in other words, substitute this for this or this for this. It's just not going to work that way. Which means that getting the last two centers represents a unique and very intricate challenge. But although it took me a little while, I think I found a way to work through it. I did it once. Let's see if I can do it again. So I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to throw caution to the wind. Now, scrambling this at first is a little bit of a challenge, not because it moves poorly, which obviously it doesn't, but mainly because there's a little bit of a learning curve. You have to make sure everything is lined up. Otherwise, it's a very stable puzzle, so I'm just going to start doing some 180-degree scrambles here. I have now committed myself to a scramble of this puzzle. There's nothing I can do about it now. But like all mods, it retains its external structure relative to itself. So, in other words, a center is a center, and unless I line it up just right, I'm not going to be able to make it turn. So I just have to be sure that I'm doing that. There's a little bit of a learning curve, and at this point, things can seem a little bit skewed, but I can tell these edge pieces are in, so I should be able to make another turn. If not, then this part here is scrambled wrong, so this comes up over here. So this has nothing to do with the turning of the puzzle. It has everything to do with lining it up. And despite how many pieces there are, despite the complication in the design, it's still a remarkably stable puzzle. Of course, this is version 1. I'm sure Dan is fast at work at version 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows. The guy's a machine, a workhorse. Okay, so now let's get into some shape-shifting scrambles here. I'll just move these over here, move one of these over here, and we're going to get it out of the barrel form at this point. So you can see it moves pretty well, pretty freely. And it took me so long to solve it the first time, I can't believe I'm diving right back into another scramble. There's a couple puzzles that I have that after, in the midst of trying to solve it, promised myself I will never scramble it again. I will gaze at it on my shelf in a solved state with the satisfaction of knowing that I had solved it and not put myself through another scramble. Generally when I do that, that lasts all of 2 minutes and I can't help but doing it again, because then I start thinking to myself, well, maybe I could do it quicker next time. Maybe I can refine it a little bit more. Now I am a little cautious with this, and I'm like that with most mods because, you know, I'm very careful to make sure that, you know, nothing pops out at me. This is one of those puzzles where if something pops, I'm a dead man because, well, potentially very hard to place it. So I'm going to keep scrambling and then come back with it, and we're going to attack this thing. Abracadabra. Okay, so we got it. This is a fully scrambled barrel 8x8 puzzle. Now, the strategies of this are the same. The good news is, when solving this, there weren't any new algorithms, but I did have to modify things. And I did have to take a slightly different perspective with things as well, which we'll go over as we do it. So, the first step is to define centers, and this is going to be a lot like the Crazybadcuber, however you pronounce it, octahedron, if you recall, the 4-layer one. Because there is no definitive center, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick 4 colors, but I know that there's only 2 sides where there's a center, where there's centers that are flat. The rest have a barrel shaped. So I'm just going to take a look and see what's flat and what I can use. Now, I purposefully didn't memorize what was at the top and the bottom. Maybe I should have, I don't know. But I didn't, so maybe that's going to work against me, who knows. Anyway, I see a purple one here. So what I can do is I can just start matching some of the flat parts here, and they have to be 4 different colors. So purple, red, why not? There's a yellow one here, but I don't know how flat that looks. So what I can do is I can put maybe a green. This looks like a flat green. Now bear in mind, you're going to have green color here and up here at the top. So I have to be careful as to what I'm choosing. These both will look pretty flat to me. So I'm going to turn this up here and just move this into position over here. Now alternatively, what I could do is I could just start filling in the purple on the side over here. But I'll just continue doing it how I'm doing it. This blue obviously doesn't belong there, so I just need a different color flat one. And here's a dark green over here. So why don't I just move that in? So this will be my center. What I'm actually doing now is I'm calibrating the puzzle. Calibrating it to where this is going to sort of set the pace and set the pattern for the rest of the puzzle. Move this down like so. Move this in, and there that is. Looks pretty good. Move this up, and from time to time I may have to rearrange the centers. Okay, so these look flat, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create the centers surrounding this. Again, this is mostly just placement. So here's a flat one, so this is going to go with the purple. So I'm just going to move that into position. Now from time to time, if there's lockups, that has more to do with just the intricate small pieces that are here. So what I'll do is I'll move this down here. See, there's an orange one. I could have used the orange one as a backdrop or as a center as well. Move this like so. And move this up. Alright, so I'm just going to put in sides. Bang. Zoom. Pow. Move this into here actually. Alright, this is going to find its way up to here. Move it out of the way. Move this down. And Move this in. Move it up. Okay, so any purples and any greens. This one can find a nice home over here and up. Okay, we have half of our first side. We're cruising now. Okay, so now we want to fill in these. Reds here, greens here. Let's see what we got. Now, as you continue to solve this, it actually starts getting, easier to move because you don't have as many of the little pieces running into each other. Turn this in. Turn this up. All right, we're cruising. Looking good, looking good. Now, some of the techniques that I'm going to be doing are somewhat advanced, and I'm not giving you a lot of details as to what I'm doing. At some point, if you want some basic tutorials on basic techniques of solving giant cubes and giant centers, I'm happy to do that. There's plenty of tutorials out there, so I've held off on that because not a whole lot more to contribute with that, but again, I'm happy to do it. Let's move this back up and this down. So now it'll find a home here. Beautiful. Turn and up. Awesome. Two more. Okay, so you can see our first center. This is what I'm arbitrarily defining as a first center. This is going to be the color scheme. So the next step is to put our other centers in. Now, we actually have a choice. What I would recommend, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this makes sense. Did I put the wrong one in? This looks pretty flat here, so I think we're okay. And just start getting the other centers here. So I've got a red one and a green one, so I know that that's what's going to be here. And it's just going to be easier for me to follow it that way. So I'm going to move this around here. So this red one is going to coincide with this, and actually we'll do the purple, because I happen to have the purple over here. And if they don't quite match, if this shape doesn't quite match with the rest, it's going to be hard to correlate it with this. I'm going to have to put that out, because if I don't, I'm going to start getting a whole mess of parities, annoying parities. So turn this in, move this out, and then turn this back. Okay, the end result is, just to show it, these are placed. So this is that part of that barrel. Now we want to get the reds, and the reds are going to be homologous to this. It's going to look just like that. Turn this like so. Turn this like so. These three will join these three in a holy matrimony. This gets turned like this. And now we turn up here, and bang, bang. Okay, so we got this. And now we just follow suit. What I want to do is move these two into here. And I can do that by going... Now, you make use of the fact that because there's all these layers, you can isolate layers pretty easily here. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to move these like so. I've created this layer here. I know I put this out, but don't worry, we can isolate this. So these two. Then I'm going to move this down without popping anything out to here. Take this layer and move it down. And now I'm going to move this back and put back those layers that I just took out. And I moved by twos. You can see it put these two back in. Now I'm going to move this here and move this back up. The overall result of that is I didn't mess this up and I put these in. Now, what I did has some key significance for later on. And this will come nicely to here. Now, do I want to stop with that? Well, why don't I start putting the rest of this in here as well? So, how about right next to the blue is the orange, which I have over here. So these two will find a nice home over here. But why stop with that? Why not put the orange that looks like this color with a little tapered edge right next to it, which is right here. I got two to choose from. So I'm going to angle this over here, and my overall goal is to kind of get this layer over here. So I'm going to turn this over here, and this is going to come down to here. This one is simple. Turn, actually turn it the other way here, and turn. All right, so these three now are going to come to here. But why stop there? Why not find the little angulated orange one that goes here? Well, here's one, but this has a very nice home next to this guy, so I'm not going to use that one. Why not use something else? Why not use the right one? This one. So actually I want to move this out of this layer here. Turn. Let's turn it twice here and move this down. All right, now that I've done that, find it again over here. Move this like so. Move this into place. And now this will come down here. Turn. Okay. Now we have ourselves an entire section here to place down here. How are we going to do that? Well, move it en masse here, turn, and I moved these 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, which is fine as long as I move it out with one of these layers that I didn't use. So here, turn down, now turn back, and move all those layers that I moved back in. Was it? Yeah, back in, and then like so, and return this that we just created. So there you have it. All this is in. Turn. So all of our purples are in. Now we do reds, and bingo. Okay, so we have our other side here. Make sure that the color scheme makes sense. It does. So side number 2 is done. So now the next step is, well, we can start putting these in. Start off with the centers here and then move them on. I know that it's going to be purple and green, so I might as well bring that in. And what I can also do at this point is just make sure that these centers make sense. Just make sure that nothing is out. I don't really like the cleft over here. See over here, this sort of slopes in apart from this. So now is the time to correct all that. The rest of these come in pretty well, pretty adequate. I'm not sure about this blue, but I'm pretty sure I can do better with this purple. It fits nicely with all of these, but I'm not so sure with this. So let's find the other purple that I could potentially use. That's why this puzzle is such a marathon. You can't make any assumptions because you'll be investing not so well in your future. Alright, so it's going to be here. So turn. Okay, now I think I was casting aspersions on this purple center. Move it here. Okay, how about if I turn this? Do I like this better? Do I like it better? I think I do. I think I do like it better. Not by much, but a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to replace that. So for the sake of the one, we'll change the whole thing. So this comes in like so. Turn like here. This comes down. Turn it back. This comes back here. Turn it back here. And this comes up. Now, am I going to regret what I just did? I don't think so. So, turn. Okay, so I'm finishing up my third center here. Got these guys in, so I just need to get what appears to be a couple of blues over here. And what I'm doing is just trying to fill in all these over here so I can put them in. And what do we got? And this looks like the right stuff. Turn. So with these three here, take this over here and then move these in. What I'm going to do is move these on block all of these planes removed. So turn it out of the way, move this down, turn it back, move these back, turn it in. So like I say, typical large cube center solving strategy. And over here. Okay, so now that's in. Let's just make sure we coordinated this right. Good. Good. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next center before moving into the last two centers, which promises to be interesting, to say the least. Okay, so this is going to be the last of our fairly straightforward, easy centers, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the other bottom center, the other one that's flat, just because it's kind of easier to do. Save my last two centers for the barrel shape over here. So up, over, turn, 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 and turn. Okay, the last of the yellows. Bring this back, move this in. So these two will be placed here, defining this side here. Move them in. I've now defined this slice here, or that layer here, turn here. That's the good thing about these large puzzles, is that there's multiple layers that don't really intersect. So this will come in to replace the orange. Turn this like so. Down, turn it up. Oh, we didn't want that. Turn it back, turn. Again, whole key is don't get lost. And turn. Okay, so I bumped the orange out, so now I can find it here somewhere. These three to here, what do we say to that? Sounds good. So this will come down here, and I moved all these three layers to do that, but that's okay because I can spin this out of the way. As long as I move this down from a different layer, then I'm okay. And move it back. Now move all these three layers back. Move this up, bring this in here, puts that in place, freed up this orange, turning this here. Down here, once again defines this side, out of the way, down, turn, up, turn, and up. Okay, two more to go for this last of our easy sides, and you can see that it was indeed easy. Now should this come down to here, turn, which presumably solves that side, turn down here, I meant slice that side, this comes up here, turn and turn in. Okay, so now all we have to do is put the final blue one here, which is going to come from, I think, probably here. So move this into position, 1, 2. So this is going to come down to here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Put it in this layer here, so this will move down. Bang, bang. Move this up. Pow, pow. Move this back. Splat, splat. Okay. So we have this here. We'll put all of these back in. And now we have ourselves at the last two centers. The dreaded last two centers. But we don't need to fear it. Now before I do that, I'm going to make sure everything's fine. This is all flat, so that's fine. This is all flat. We worked hard to get it in that position, so that's fine. Are we happy with all of these? And yeah. Happy with all of these? Yeah. So how then to navigate through this? And this is where the real challenge of this puzzle comes from.